Tokenization. One of the most important things we have been keeping an eye on all year is this. We have been discussing it. I am aware that constantly hearing about tokenization can get monotonous and frustrating. But this is among the most significant developments in the cryptocurrency space. Nearly $34 billion is a significant amount, considering that it was only $15.6 billion at the start of the year. We doubled that, and this is just one industry that is expanding at a startling rate, and practically everyone needs to concentrate on it. Additionally, we can observe the networks everywhere when we consider some of the networks here. You mean some of the largest platforms? Securitize is the top platform when we look at it. Securitize and Ripple already have a collaboration. They just joined forces with Securitize. Ripple teamed up with Ondo as well. It's insane really, because the majority of the names on this list are associated with numerous significant people who we research daily in this field. Furthermore, we're beginning to observe an increase in values on these networks as a whole. The $34 billion is also linked to private chains or platforms like Securitize when looking at the worldwide market overview, since, while Securitize uses a number of public networks, it is not actually a tradable public network in this market. That's why we're at 21.22 billion when we go to the Networks tab. The absurd thing about this is that throughout the past 30 days, both of these figures have significantly increased. On the other hand, public blockchains are expanding more rapidly. The 30-day transfer volume is visible when we examine the public blockchain side of things. Nevertheless, these networks have 21.22 billion USD on them. Examine the 30-day transfer volume in relation to RWAs. $115 billion, a 50% increase. Why should we pay attention to this? Very much like steady coins, isn't that right? The monthly transfer volume is far over $3+ trillion, or around 3.7 trillion, even if stablecoins have $295 billion associated with them. This is significant because over the course of the next 5 years, the total RWA tokenization value that will impact these public chains is estimated to be in the trillions of dollars. Since tokenization will have a significant impact on these public networks, I believe that it will make us wealthy. It will then drastically scale those numbers, as we can see below with regard to transfer volume. By 2030, the estimated value of public networks is $16 trillion, which could be the case. Although $16 trillion may be linked to these networks, the monthly transfer volume may be as much as 30 trillion, 50 trillion, or even more than $100 trillion. Because once more, these values and entities do not simply reside on a chain when it comes to tokenization. They will be exchanged on a daily basis, 7 days a week. I did say something rather intriguing back in June, don't you think? You know, June was 4 months ago, so it's absurd, and we saw more than $10 billion added to the global RWA market picture in just 4 months. $23.38 billion, I said. That is the current total value of RWAs on the chain. We haven't even begun, yet the entire addressable market is worth quadrillions. The size of this space is barely apparent to even ardent cryptocurrency holders. The idea that trillions will shortly flow on-chain and not just sit there is the big picture that everyone is missing. Consider the network effect that made it possible for Bitcoin to rise from pennies to $100,000. Now consider this, on a range of 10 to 100x, or even greater for utility networks. Trillions will be traded around the clock, every day of the year. All markets, including debt and real estate, will be tokenized. On the chain, money itself will survive. The major indicator of what's to come is stable coins. And the sign is that our governments are adopting them wholeheartedly. Fiat is being added to the chain by stable coins. This is the revolution of digital currency. Pay attention to the projects that will be most useful. Along with a few others, I'm examining all of these. These networks won't be worth billions of dollars in the future. Trillions of dollars will be their value. This is far larger than anything we have ever seen. Indeed, the Internet of Value is this. The new financial system is this one. We have discussed it more than once. Ripple made a post about the Internet of Value back in 2017. We also know that the Finternet, which is essentially a reward Internet of Value, was announced back in April 2024, which is what makes this so absurd. You know, this is only a year and 6 months old. This confirms the arrival of a new system and comes from the Central Bank of Central Banks, or BIS, the financial system of the future. And this was about tokenization, how to merge all these disparate ledgers into a single one, and how to create a new financial system that operates far more quickly. We use digital currency. It's insane, yet it's happening, isn't it? As if these things were happening. The entire financial environment is changing, including markets, currency, bonds, and banking. As Ripple even affirmed back on the 8th, blockchain is a potent tool that opens up revolutionary possibilities for multinational corporations. Find out how we are implementing solutions for stablecoins, payments, custody, and other areas. And it's occurring right here. This is taking place because ultimately, when we consider the current situation, it was prearranged. It was discussed by Ripple in 2017. It is taking place today. The use of digital currencies, stablecoins, and tokenized assets is beginning to gain traction. Indeed, this year is among the most significant in the history of cryptocurrency. And you know what? This is only the start. If 2025 seemed like a big year for cryptocurrency because of all the announcements, significant alliances, and the like, it will only become bigger from here on. We then return to BlackRock, correct? They provided us with an update since BlackRock returned in the third quarter. In fact, I think this was the second quarter. I may be mistaken, but I do recall this particular instance. What they were telling us. This is Larry Fink, BlackRock's CEO, by the way. According to what they told us, tokenization will become quite popular. The next big thing is tokenization. Isn't that what they said? What's interesting about this is that BlackRock is still concentrating on tokenization today. BlackRock keeps pushing the envelope of what is conceivable. Here is the most current CNBC update. The post was made by Nate Garolji. We have the CEO of the biggest asset management in the world. The tokenization of all assets is still in its early stages. ETFs are included, yes. Larry Fink on his increasingly favorable outlook on cryptocurrency. I develop and gain knowledge, a good lesson. And some of you still believe that cryptocurrency is a fraud. Pay close attention to this. I do think that the tokenization of all assets, including bonds, stocks, and real estate, is just getting started. Really loud. It's good though. There is capital at work, that's what you enjoy. Love capital in action. However, there are $4.1 trillion in digital wallets in cities around the world. A large portion of that money is located outside of the US. We should digitize the ETF if we are able to tokenize it. We can have investors who are just starting to invest in markets using cryptocurrency. For example, they're making investments in it, but we can now move them to long-term retirement solutions that are more conventional. In light of this, we see that as BlackRock's next big opportunity as we begin to concentrate on relocating traditional financial assets in a digital form and encouraging people to remain in that digital ecosystem over the course of the next tens of years. They can keep their cash, and we have BUIDL, the biggest tokenized cash money market fund. As you may know, Bitcoin has grown to be worth over $100 billion. Not very long ago, from nothing. And there was none 2 years ago. I am aware, as we all know, you weren't always a big supporter of cryptocurrency. Now I adore it. However, I develop and learn, and it's hilarious, isn't it? I develop and gain knowledge. It's certainly not the fact that BlackRock has been in this industry for many years. They were always present, even when they said they weren't. The big plan always included them. All of the current events are simply the result of dominoes falling into place. The crazy thing about this is that we also have it over here, the fact that BlackRock is developing its own